while. Is a 1955 John Deere 50. Currently, the power takeoff does not work on this tractor. As you can see, the clutch engagement lever is up here, yet I can still turn the power shaft, or power takeoff, but Deere calls it the power shaft because Deere is Deere. But today's objective is to tear into this gearbox back here and see if the clutches need replacement, and probably break a whole bunch of other things and cost more money. But hopefully it'll just turn out I just need to put everything back together and adjust the clutches. So here comes me tearing apart the clutch, tearing into the gearbox. Okay, so I've been beating on this casing for an hour now, and it still won't come off. So I went and I looked at the diagram, the Deere's diagram. It turns out that way back up in here, there's another bolt. And somehow I'm supposed to get to it sitting here on the tractor. It didn't make it very convenient. I mean, granted, they also didn't design this tractor to have a 3-point on the back. Holy crap. Okay. So that really spins. Assuming they're just out of adjustment. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys can see very well. I'm gonna grab a light. Right, I don't know. I'll put my flashlight up against it. Hopefully you can see it better, but there's a bunch of sludge in this case. So regardless, I need to clean this out, refill with some 80-90 gear oil. I'm just looking in here trying to see how I can adjust these clutches. Because these guys, if you spin them, you can't, not the, hold on, you adjust the camera. You can, the shaft's spinning, but the clutches are not touching. Now I wonder if it's because they're oily as well. I can't tell right now. So I'm gonna have to go take a look and see how the adjustment is, or unless there's no power coming to that shaft here. Otherwise, that means there's up in the transmission, there's something wrong up there. After doing a couple of experiments, I have determined that what John Deere calls the drum is not spinning at all, even when you're trying to spin the engine over. And from what it looks like, there is another engagement drive up in the foot plate. So I guess we're gonna have to tear into the foot plate and see if that's the problem. So getting into the foot plate will not result in where I want to be, because the engagement is actually up close to the crankshaft. So I'm gonna have to get in at the transmission, and to get into the transmission I have to remove the hood, which means I have to remove the grill, so I can then have to remove the dash up here to get into this plate, remove the transmission top, so I can get into here where the gears mesh off the drive shaft. Well, and besides, anyways, I need to take the power steering off up here, and it needs to have I need to put some Permatex, or go find a gasket. I'm probably just gonna put Permatex in it, and seal it up, because it leaks a little bit. And consider the fact that this tractor doesn't have a very high pressure system, I believe Permatex, I could get away with just putting in a Permatex gasket, letting it sit and seal. So on with that. to take the power steering off. I had to pull the entire shaft out up here at the worm steering. Worm drive, whatever you want to call it. But I didn't realize it until I tore in that there's a greaser down here, which I've never greased. So I'll have to grease that when I go to put everything back together. And that there's no oil up here in the worm drive. So I'm gonna have to see if it's leaking, and if it doesn't leak, put in some gear oil. I guess back to the time lapse. Now that the hood is off the tractor, I can start getting into the dash. But before I take the dash apart, I'm going to pull out the battery. And inside the dash, there's a couple gauges that need replaced because the oil pressure gauge isn't working correctly. I at least need to test and make sure it is. Hopefully it isn't, because it's not been reading a nice number for oil pressure. And the coolant gauge doesn't work at all, so that needs to be replaced. Along with that, the coolant needs to be dropped out and changed because the coolant's also bad. And then there's the inline heater for the coolant that has gotten to crap because I plugged it in a couple days ago before I put it in here, and it tried burning the shop down. So we're gonna drop the coolant out, put a new radiator hose on the coolant, in the coolant system, put in fresh coolant, and put some new gauges in the dash. And that should be everything that I can think of right now. with the pain in the butt of what the temperature gauge was, I ended up having to rip out the thermostat housing to be able to get to the nut to be able to pull it apart out of the dash. So while I'm at it, I'm going to replace the thermostat as well and put new gaskets on here and flush out the block while I'm at it, because this block is disgusting. There's so much crud in the coolant system, it's not even funny. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to drop the engine oil out and change the engine oil filter, because I'm going to have to blow down the oil pressure send line, so hopefully I can get a better idea of oil pressure and see if there's anything else that's wrong, because reasons. So finish dropping the engine oil out and get the transmission pulled apart, and we'll wrap up the video. Hopefully I can get whatever is jammed in here fixed in this video. If not, it'll be in the next video. So hopefully this won't take too much longer. Alright, so we are now up and in the transmission here, and I've now got that to engage because I went on the back and spun that drum around. So in the next video we're gonna wrap everything back up, put in the new dash gauges, top off the oil, make new gaskets, put in a new thermostat, and basically get her back to operational order and get her running. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.